The Australian Grand Prix has been a mainstay of the Formula One calendar for years now. In its 27-year history at Albert Park, only 2 drivers have flown the flag for the land down under. Mark Webber, despite making his debut there in 2002 and finishing 5th in a friggin' Minardi, had access to race-winning and championship-winning machinery for several years, but could do no better than 4th. For several years now, the Aussie hopes have lived with Daniel Ricciardo. He was Webber's literal successor, but like him just hasn't been able to get the stars of the Southern Cross to align for him on race day down in Albert Park. As would be expected for any prospective Formula One driver, the Honey Badger spent most of his junior career racing in Europe, where he eventually got ensnared by Helmut Marko. In 2011, he was given what would be considered by most junior drivers today as the deal of a lifetime by running an FP1 for Toro Rosso at every race. He therefore made his Grand Prix weekend debut in Melbourne in 2011 and was only 2/10 slower than Sebastian Buemi in the other car. After a brief spell of HRT, he was promoted to a race seat with Toro Rosso in 2012. The year began as ever in Australia, and he just managed to scrape his way into Q3, a rare occurrence for Toro Rosso, and lined up 10th after not setting a time, though his Q2 time would have been enough for 9th. The race, however, did not get off to a good start, as he collided with Bruno Senna at turn 1 and pitted for repairs and came out last. However, a well-timed safety car and an even more well-timed crash from Pastor Maldonado on the last lap and squabbles between Sergio Perez and Nico Rosberg meant he climbed up to 9th, though it would be another 11 races before he scored any further points. He remained with Toro Rosso in 2013. Race day ended up being quite hectic as Q1 took place as normal on Saturday, but a sudden deluge on the world's driest continent meant Q2 and 3 got postponed to Sunday morning, and he qualified a modest 14th, just behind teammate Jean-Éric Vergne. He had another craptacular start on cold 2013 Pirellis which were made of cheese, as he was down to 17th by turn 2, and by the end of the second lap had been passed by both Caterhams and both Marussias and was down in 21st and last. He eventually got back into a rhythm, and after his second stop was running in 13th, then the exhaust blew on lap 40. In 2014, he got his big break. Webber had had enough of getting multi-21'd by Sebastian Vettel, so now it was Ricciardo's turn. Pre-season testing had been less than ideal for the A-team, so it was a pleasant surprise when Ricciardo qualified second, with Fingerboy way down in 12th. Nico Rosberg passed him off the line, but he managed to pass pole sitter Lewis Hamilton at turn 1. Both Hamilton and Vettel retired within the first 4 laps, and Ricciardo kept his head down and managed to finish in a jubilant 2nd place. After years of waiting, the home crowd finally got to see a local driver, born 1,000 miles away, on the podium. Then he was disqualified. Vettel decided he'd had enough suffering at the end of the year and that he would rather suffer with Ferrari for 6 years, so for 2015 Ricciardo was joined by Daniel Kvyat. A dodgy ECU meant he didn't run in FP2. Hey, that rhymes. But on Saturday, he still qualified 6th. Only 15 cars made the starting grid, and only 13 made it to the end of lap 1. The forgettable race ended with him finishing where he started, being lapped only 3 laps before the end. In the 2016 race, the drivers had to deal with a new quality system that would eliminate the slowest driver every 90 seconds, which unsurprisingly the teams found loopholes around immediately, meaning it didn't work. Kvyat got knocked out in Q1, but Ricciardo made it into Q3 and qualified 8th out of 8 drivers that bothered setting times. This race was actually half decent for him. Despite having already pitted, he was up to 4th when the race was red flagged after Fernando Alonso and Esteban Gutierrez's gymnastics at turn 3. Kimi Raikkonen's retirement after the restart put him up to 3rd, but he eventually got passed by Hamilton and matched Webber's best result here of 4th, and also got the fastest lap. In 2017, Kvyat had torpedoed his way back to Toro Rosso, so now Danny Ric had Mad Max to deal with. He made it into Q3, as would be expected, but then crashed at turn 13 on his first hot lap, leaving him 10th. He then took a 5-place grid penalty for changing the gearbox, but then the hydraulics from the new gearbox went AWOL on his way round to the grid, so he was wheeled back into the garage and then rejoined the race 2 laps down, then lost fuel pressure on lap 26. In 2018, he decided to get his misfortunes out of the way one day earlier, as he was given a 3-place grid penalty and 2 points on his super licence for failing to adequately slow when FP2 was red flagged. He qualified 3/10 behind Max in 5th and was therefore demoted to 8th. He passed future teammate Nico Hülkenberg early on, then Max was courteous enough to spin, and after Haas made themselves look like a bunch of vanquors, he went on to finish in 4th once again. In 2019, he threw in the towel of his championship chances and decided to try his luck at becoming Formula 1.5 champion instead. He qualified 12th, only 0.08 of a second behind Hülkenberg, and at the start he tried to pass Sergio Perez in front and put 2 wheels on the grass where he hit a small ditch which destroyed his front wing. He plummeted to last and then replaced the wing, but gave up after 28 laps. In 2020, he and the rest of the Formula 1 world arrived in Melbourne, raring to go with the prospect of a long new season ahead of them, and then, yeah. So, in 8 attempts at home glory, the Honey Badger has produced 2 fourths, a 6th, a 9th, 3 retirements and a disqualification. Any chances of winning here are seemingly gone as he continues to rage quit his way to the back of the grid. If Sunday's race is a scorcher, then it's possible, but I'm not holding my breath, and we're probably going to have to wait for the next generation of Aussie drivers to do so. Speaking of, would it have killed Alpine to have put Piastri in the car in FP1? That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Brook_F1, and I'll see you all next time.